Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome dear viewers. We are here standing in Arafah. What can I say to you to describe this moment? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Al-Hajj Arafah. That the pinnacle of your Hajj, the most important day of your Hajj is the Arafah. People have been gathered there since the morning, making dua, raising their hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking for His forgiveness. We know the objective of us to stand here and it is to beg to Allah, to save us, to save our necks from the punishment of the hellfire. And people have come from all over the world using all different modes of transportation. You can see behind me the events taking place. It is truly an emotional, a passionate moment where you see people coming to tears. They are begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save them from the punishment of the fire. They are emotional, they are crying, and we can come together inshallah ta'ala. We will look at the moments, we will look at the significance of this day. We have with us a sheikh as well. He will explain to us what is the significance, what is his feelings, what is his experience, and inshallah ta'ala I will also elaborate on that also. Sheikh, if I can go straight into the moment, because it's a very fast moving scenario and there's lots going on. Could I first ask you to tell us the significance of Arafah within these days of the Hijjah?
As you have mentioned previously, Al-Hajj Arafah. So this is the epic and the essence of the Hajj as a whole. This is the response to the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah Azza wa Jal asked him, وَأَذِّن بِالنَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. You can see now this is the response of the people for the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam since then. He said, how come Allah, I would call and people will come, and he said, just you make the call, I will deliver. Allah delivered this, and for the past 3,000 years, people have been responding, coming to this place, chanting with the same slogan, لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. And no one is a loser at this day. Allah Azza wa Jalla is looking at us with all mercy. We don't know any day in the whole year that Allah would come to the heavenly earth, to the earthly heaven except this day. Yes, He comes at the last third of every night for the same reason, which is to accept our supplication. But we have to wake up. Now everybody in the daytime, Allah comes down looking at us, being very proud of us, and if He is proud of us, then He is satisfied upon us. And that's why He said, I witness you all before His angels. You know, and angels are very noble creatures. لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. They do whatever Allah wants from them. Nevertheless, He is proud of the believers. Ibn Taymiyyah said that the righteous among us, the believers, are greater than the angels, because angels are created for good. While we are created with good and bad, we suppress the bad and then we respond to Allah Azza wa Jal, came with all good, asking for the good of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal is showering His mercy upon each and every one. You know, even in the regular salat, when someone in the masjid listening to dhikr, angels will report this to Allah Azza wa Jal, and then Allah said to those people in the masjid, I witness you all that I forgave them all. And the angels will come back to Allah and say, there is one person who came for a need. He said, هم القوم لا يشقى بهم جليسهم. Those are the setting that no one is going to be. Once you are there, the showers of Allah Azza wa Jal will cover everybody. And that's why the worst scenario of Iblis, he is the most humiliated creature ever at this day, because he can be able to see how much Allah is showering the mercy and the forgiveness for the most desperate person on the face of the earth is the one who thinks that he is in the pain of Arafah, and he thinks that Allah would not respond and accept from him.
Sheikh, also I want to touch on something else. We talked about the importance of Arafah. We were on the mountain some time ago, and subhanAllah, I saw people with different colors, different languages, raising their hands up, and wallahi, every single person was crying. Grown men, grown women were begging, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save them. It was such an emotional time. What is the role and the importance of dua in this day?
قال صلى الله عليه وسلم خير يوم طلعت فيه الشمس يوم عرفة. The best day that the sun came on is the day of Arafah. أنا خير ما قال خير الدعاء دعاء يوم عرفة. The best day دعاء is the دعاء يوم عرفة. وخير ما قلت أنا والنبيين من قبلي, and the best thing I said, me and the prophets before me, and listen to this carefully, because there is a VRB, someone that you want, CEO, usually starts your highness, your majesty, and this is what we say in Allah. We don't come unto Allah and beg. Even this is in Fatiha, we do this 7 times a day, 17 times a day, when we say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, all praise due to Allah, the merciful, the gracious, only you we worship. All of this is praising Allah, and then you beg and supplicate and shed your tears, and also throw the 3 things that that's when you say Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in. So Rasulullah sallallahu told us, along with all the prophets before him who made Hajj, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, in this mosque, which is very close to us, there were 70 prophets who prayed in this place. Yeah, from the time of Ibrahim, I said this is the most authentic that we have had, but there's also other narration that says that all the prophets and messengers have made Hajj except Salih and Lut, I assume, along with Isa alayhi salam, who will come back. But the essence is this word, خير ما قلت أنا النبي من قبل لا إله إلا الله. It's nothing. There is no God but God. There is no deity other than Allah. There is no one worthy of worship except Allah Azza wa Jal. For this I'm begging him, I'm praising him. La ilaha illallah, wahdahu, alone, la sharika lahu, with no associate. The same chant that we say, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Lahul hamd, for him is all praise. وله الشكر, is all praise. Yuhyi yumit, he's the one who gives life and death. وهو على كل شيء قدير, and he is able to do everything. Part of it is his mercy that he is showering people with at the moment.
Sheikh, one thing I want to touch on, because when I look behind me, I see people of different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different languages. Islam has come to unite the people. Islam has come to bring the rich and the poor together. Islam has come to remove any kind of racism, anything that divides us. How important is it? I want you to address the people in the camera and tell them we need to be united and the importance of us being unified.
I've seen some people who come from different countries. Sometimes they don't pray even in the same masjid. But once they come here in Haram, I can see them all the same group. I've seen the people of different color, different race, different background. But now it's the same thing that Allah has called them. إِنَّا جَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ, and we have made you into people and tribes. لِتَعَارَفُوا, to know each other. Which is, everything is about Tawheed. We are worshipping one God. Ibrahim alayhi salam called the people to worship the one God. He established the house of Tawheed, the one house of Allah Azza wa Jal. Everybody is going directing himself towards that house of Allah Azza wa Jal. You see all the line with all colors of the spectrum around the Kaaba. And when you fly, and look where the bird's eye, you see all the masajid are also going around the Kaaba all over the world. And all the Muslims, the same circles that you see around Kaaba are there at the same place. And then they all gather, whenever you want something and you want a request, if it is a group, then the impact will be stronger. So when all of those people come in one plane with all colors and forgetting about everything that will depart people from each other, Allah made it so easy on us. When Allah said, what make people different is social, economic class, clothes, they are the same. Arrogance is not there. Debating is not there. فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ بِالْحَجِّ. So what is left there? The place is safe. The place is secured. The food is وَأَطْعَمَهُمْ مِنْ جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُمْ مِنْ خَوْفٍ. All of this so people could focus on the Tawheed and the unity of the Muslim Ummah by worshipping the one and only. And people, Ibn Taymiyyah had a very beautiful book titled اقتضاء الصراط المستقيم مخالفة أصحاب الجحيم, which is translated in English as the right way. And he said, he put the first law of psychology of society. He said التشبه من الخارج يورث المحبة من الداخل والمحبة من الداخل تورث التشبه من الخارج. He said love from inside would bring resemblance from outside, and that's why we see, for example, our children wearing the same shirt of that football player with the same colors. Okay, now people, because they love Allah and they love each other, they wear the same clothes and they're following the same God, going to the same Qibla. This is unity in manifest. You can't see this. This is the largest gathering in the whole world. 3 million people and no friction, no touching, no electrified atmosphere. Everybody saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak, labbaik inna alhamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak.
Sheikh, I'd like to thank you very much for giving us these wise words and ask Allah to accept for you your Hajj and also accept for these beautiful words. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So Dear viewers, we will now conclude here and remind once again everybody that we are standing here on the plains of Arafah, and it's very important for us all to understand it is the day of making dua. It's a day for us to really supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make your dua. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save you from the fire. If you have finished your dua, make dua for the Muslims around the world, for those who are suffering, for those who are in pain. And if then also think about your parents, make dua for your beloved ones, your mom, your dad, what they have done for you. They're the ones who come after the rest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will see you at another point. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك.
Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, in this live coverage of Hajj in Huda TV, and we also go live for some of the also interviews in Mecca, live with our crew in Huda TV. And we just had a discussion with Brother Junaid, and it was really touching to the heart. And it's related to the discussion that we're going to have with, inshallah, our guest, who is Brother Abdul Salam. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Abdul Salam.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And pleased again to have you again.
Alhamdulillah, just a little while ago, we were here, Hajj, day to day, and alhamdulillah.
Different ethnicities.
Come back.
Jazakallah khair. So the last topic was really huge about racism.
Yeah.
We saw like the feedback or people watching the episode, there were lots of people, lots of viewers, and we hope that people benefited from it as we enjoyed it.
Alhamdulillah.
So our topic, like right now, is related to this. But it's a general one. It's how Hajj can affect the self, on oneself. Like we can talk about the heart acts of worship, because so many times we focus on the acts of the limbs, just the movements, just maybe washing up or something like this, or just moving and prostrating and so on. But we sometimes neglect the role of the heart.
Yeah.
So we would like to touch upon what is the importance of the heart in Islam.
Well, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulullah. I mean, of course, we have obligatory things that we have to do with our limbs. Allah has ordered us to make salat. So, you make your 5 salat a day. But what is salat without concentration, without feeling it and, concentrating? We can relieve our obligation, but there's so much more benefit. And, I think the heart is what really makes the difference. As far as our intentions, we can do an act of worship that is not accepted by Allah, or as actually a minor form of shirk, a minor form of polytheism, because of our heart, because of our intentions, and our thinking, and but the heart is a little deeper than thinking, right? We have our intention to say, okay, I'm not doing this to show off, I'm doing this just for the sake of Allah. And we make that up in our minds. But our hearts are, everything is controlled by Allah, but
our hearts are so much controlled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
SubhanAllah. And coming back to Hajj, if we have this connection to it, like the focus on the acts of worship during the rituals and so on, and the effects, as we said in the last or the previous episode about racism and how to eliminate it, that change is not a change of attitude, it's a change of what's inside the heart.
Yeah.
When I really believe that you are like, there is oneness of humanity, as Malcolm X said, that if the West believed in one God, they're going to believe the oneness of humanity.
Yes.
So this comes from the heart, not the attitude. You can change the laws, the regulations.
Yeah.
You can assume and claim and say that we are like a free nation, we love each other, but it's not a matter of the tongue. There must be like a change that is deep inside the heart.
And it's really deep. I mean, Allah knows best when you start talking about the heart, because we don't really know much. We know, okay, we have our bodies, we have detailed things that we're supposed to do in our salah, things that we're supposed to say during our prayer, our obligatory prayer, for instance. And say, okay, we're going to fulfill this. We're going to make our intention, we're going to make our wudu. And then the mind comes into play where you're remembering the things that you have to do. But what about our hearts? Who controls that? This is in the hands of Allah. Well, I think, we need to make dua, ask Allah, make supplication that Allah makes our heart into it, or guides our hearts, because we could love something that is not good for us and we stop it. We abstain from it, but we still love it in our hearts. We don't despise it in our hearts. We could do all of the physical things where I'm not coming physically close to this thing. Mentally, I know it is bad for me, and I have made a vow before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never to include.
But the feeling is there.
But what if I love it? Who controls that? I mean, that's a difficult thing.
You just went to the roots, Brother Abdul Salam.
Difficult, because the reality of things is that, it's a blessing from Allah to have a sound heart. It's a blessing from Allah to have things, to love what Allah loves and to despise what Allah despises.
And of course, the behavior too changes what's inside the heart. Like if I'm used to doing something, I think this is the different levels of Islam and Iman.
It's steps. I mean, if I'm ordered to do my salah. So even if I don't want to, okay, not because I want to. I'm addicted to prayer. One thing that I am addicted to is salah. But it wasn't always that way. There was a time when I was not making salah. I was born Muslim, but I didn't take it seriously. So I wasn't making salah. I can't believe now how the sun would come up and go down, and I didn't even think about praying. I didn't even think about it. Can you imagine? But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought me along. And I always believed in Allah. Always one God. I mean, I never ate pork, intentionally. In America, it could accidentally slip in your food, you have to be careful. But, I always considered myself a Muslim. But wasn't making salah. And it's like, and it wasn't some days, months go by, not even thinking about it until Ramadan rolls around, and then dust off the Quran. And I always believed in Allah and doing good things. But then Allah guided me to start, I need this. Life started getting difficult for me. I always knew it was good, but I said, no, I need something now. I need this. Dunya is not doing it for me. This world is not. I was working in Beverly Hills, had nice suits, I had a car, this, I mean, not so much, but I had a little stuff, But it wasn't satisfying my heart.
Like something is missing.
Yeah.
I think Jim Carrey said something when you talked about Beverly Hills. We can relate to this.
Well, see, I wasn't on Jim Carrey is on a whole nother level, right? I mean, he's a blockbuster movie guy, right? But I think some of the stuff I heard him saying, I hope Allah guides him to Islam. Because some of the stuff that I heard him saying that's what it is. You can have
so spiritual.
Yeah, it doesn't make you happy. It's a worldly convenience for a time. You know what I mean? We're in this world. We need to eat. We like good clothes. We have good perfume. This is good, But when you sit down and that feeling in your heart, where you feel happy or sad, really, this is from Allah. And it's not. I mean, I could be making my salat and still not feeling happy. I could be doing whatever. So Allah has to send this joy to your heart. He has to send this comfort to your heart.
So you have to pray, and I have to have this belief that Allah is the only one who controls my heart. Because actually the word qalb, the heart, it comes from changing or to flip something. So because, as you said, Brother it happens to us in our daily lives, for instance. Like you find somebody from the first sight you like him, and the opposite happens. Animosity and enmity can happen between people. I don't know why. I don't like this person. I don't want to deal with him. It happens.
SubhanAllah, yeah.
And you don't have any explanation, no physical explanation for this, except that the same notion that you're saying, Brother Abdussalam.
It's amazing. So, of course, we have to do our prayers because I am commanded by Allah to do it. So if I'm a prudent individual and I'm a Muslim, say, okay, well, I need to pray 5 times a day. I believe the Quran is the truth. I believe in this deen. Okay, Allah has commanded me to do this, I'll do it. That's one level, physically doing it. And then mentally understanding what you're saying, understanding why you're doing what you're doing, and making that connection.
Very important.
I remember before I started to, I started to pray, but I didn't understand. I understood like Surah Fatiha only and some small surahs. So when the Imam would go and I'd be like, I don't know what he's talking about. So he sounds good, you know, he sounds great, some of them, right? But then when I started to do a little, like, you know, just trying to get into the deen and start to learn Arabic, or at least look at the translation first, and then make the connection and kind of grow in the language a little bit, then it became more of a mental connection. And that was very helpful to really, for the heart, because then when you rehearse the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, what really got my heart was reading the tafsir in English of the Quran. They can say translation, right?
Yeah, of course.
But you say tafsir of the Quran in English. This is what got me, because it, you know, mentally I was like, wow. When I read it from cover to cover, I was like, wow, no man
like
wrote
the first
this.
time I read it.
Yeah, the first, I was like 20 something, dude. And then when I really read the whole thing by myself, I said, I want to read it, you know? And I read it and I was like, because then it begins to affect the heart. Mentally.
You know, Brother Abdussalam, what he's saying, it's not only restricted to the person who's not, the Arabic is not his first language or her first language. Also for us, my first language is Arabic. And I have to go and read the interpretation or the tafsir or the meaning, the linguistic meaning, to feel and to have really, and of course by Allah's will, the effect on my heart or my actions to understand. It's not even if I'm an Arab, because we are distant from the language right now. Even when we speak like in Egypt, for instance, we don't talk the formal language which is called the Fusha, the classical Arabic. No, we talk colloquial. It's the closest to the slang or something that we speak different from Arabic. So the same notion goes to us too. Not only to the person whose Arabic is not the first language. So I would like also to emphasize on that just maybe you can watch one short video each week, and for every person, and to understand like a short surah.
It helps, man.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, or take a little class wherever you are. You know, I went to a junior college and just took a class. I had a really good Egyptian teacher. He was there, Egyptian brother, man. And that's what it was. And then it's a learning, process. You know, then some years, they just keep it going. Something here, something there. You'll turn around and you say, okay. Or you'll be sitting there or standing in salat, and then you'll understand what
it hits you.
You'll understand it. It connects more and more. But even before that, it's mysterious, the heart. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can, without the knowledge of Arabic, without the knowledge of this or that, Allah guides people. He just guides. We don't know. It's so mysterious. So we ask Allah to keep our hearts firm on His religion.
So you mean like the first step is don't depend on yourself. Even when you have to do the action,
ask Allah. Because even with, some days we feel good now. We're not saved. We're not in the safe zone. You know what I mean? Now. Perfect. We're doing some studying. We're striving and we're trying. I can speak for myself. But I'm not in the safe zone. They say a person, they get a handspan from their destination, their eternal destination, hell and heaven, and then they change. And it means like in their life, we live our lives good, then we get this close to heaven, and then we change and enter hell. In our life. And then vice versa. We're living this bad life. People think this guy is bad. Then we get this close to hell. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He changes our heart.
I think that teaches us humility.
And
not to judge people, not to become judgmental, to say like I'm better than him or I'm worse or something like this. Nobody can do this. But there is a clarification, allow me, Brother Abdussalam, to this hadith. There is another narration in Muslim, where you said it is in Bukhari, that expands upon the meaning, which says فيما يبدو للناس. which means according to what people see. So it's not really that I am getting closer to paradise. It's according to the outward action. It's not that really. It's not like my heart is really with Allah and loves Allah, because actually Allah in the Quran says lots of times in lots of verses, like in the incident of changing the Qibla, the meaning of part of the verse is that Allah wouldn't make your belief go in vain.
Yeah.
The ones who believed in God and the calamity or the fitna of like this is really a test to change the Qibla from the Palestine or Jerusalem to Mecca, and Allah was like reassuring the companions, if you had inside your heart belief, don't just imagine that in one incident you're going to be destroyed. No.
Yeah, that's
Allah is not like this.
Yeah.
So this is just clarification is very important, because some people they get afraid that if I'm on the path, maybe in any moment, of course we shouldn't rely on ourselves. That's right, but don't like have this belief that if I'm really having a sound heart, things are going to change just like this without any reason.
That's because Allah
without my action.
Kareem, Allah is Rahman. Yeah, we worship Allah, and this is a beautiful point, brother. It's a reminder for myself, and it's a hopeful message. When we worship Allah and we sincerely do the things and we strive, we have good days and bad days. Sometimes we're feeling pumped, Iman just surging, right? Yes. And some days we're feeling like, what's going on in this life, I'm just going to, but we stay on it. We stay, okay, well, we still got to do, I got to get up, make my salat. I'm having a good, maybe, calamities happen in life too that test us. But whatever, we hold on to the rope. Yeah, we hold on to the rope. And then, do we think that Allah is not going to reward us for that? We say, because that's belief. They say, okay, well, whatever's happening, I still got to make my prayer. Whatever's happening, I still got to pay charity if I can afford it. I still, I believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. I still have to fast on Ramadan if I'm healthy. I still will make Hajj if I got the money, And you hold on to the rope of Islam. Whatever happens, up and downs, and Allah is not going to let that go in vain. We have to be careful. The shaitan trying to seduce what? Our hearts. Because he's trying to seduce us away. The calamities and hardships in life, as long as we hold on to the rope, Allah is not going to let us just go to hell. But unless we choose, unless our hearts change, He's not going to change our condition until we change what's in our hearts.
And there's something important related to this, brother. I understand the point of there's something in psychology. They say that you are not your first thought, which means sometimes you have thoughts in your head and you think that that's me. I'm a bad person. Why am I just having these evil thoughts? No, what really defines you is the second thought. How are you going to deal with it? Are you going to really act upon it, or are you going to just notice, no, basic refuge?
Yeah.
From Allah to
wow,
if you're doing this, you don't just panic and say, because that happened to the companions. They came to the Prophet, some of them, and said, we have some of the whispers inside and thoughts inside our heads. They're telling us things that we are ashamed of, and we will hope that we just fall down from a mountain and not to just have these thoughts. And the Prophet emphasized, peace be upon him, that if you really have these thoughts, he said yes. He said that this is the proof that you have belief. Why? Because Satan is going to attack those people who have very strong belief by this. He wants to disturb them. I want to make you not happy with your belief and say, okay, anyways, I'm not going to be accepted. Because I cannot stop you by any other means. I cannot seduce your heart, as he said, so you can work in the thoughts.
Whisper. And it gets deep. I was reading a book and taking a course on the world of the jinn and the devils, A'udhu Billah. And it's deep, akhi. We have, every human being has a qareen, or they say a companion with them, of the jinn, if I'm correct, And that's what their job is.
They're dedicated for you.
They're dedicated to just whispering and trying to lead us astray. That's what they're doing. And then but we have angels and we have inspiration from Allah that's doing the opposite. And we're here and we are in the position to make a choice. And this is what life is about, right? To make a choice between good and evil. And this is what this whole life is about. Allah has given us a free will, and He's shown us good and evil. And it's up to us to make that choice. So, you have whispers from shaitan, a'udhu billah. We have whispers from the jinn, the qareen that is with us. Yeah. Then our nafs, like you said, our nafs al-imara, our command. All this is very, it will convince you that you're doing the right thing, So these things we have to be on guard against.
SubhanAllah. I want to have this connection with something really important related to Hajj, and that's self-control. Because I think self-control also is related to the heart.
Yeah.
Yes, you train yourself a behavior like what's happening in Hajj, doing the rituals, and as we saw Brother Junaid and other brothers and other people in the Hajj, they look tired, and it's not a very easy task for you to do. So how can we learn this self-control from the religion in general and from Hajj specifically?
Well, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's put mechanisms in the religion, and Allah knows best. But when I look at the religion, it's like fasting, for instance. It's so, Allah recommends this for us. I mean, He makes it obligatory for us, 1 month out of the year.
Perfect.
And it's so important. This is so important, man. I mean, we do our salat and the pillars of Islam, but this fasting, as far as controlling yourself, you reestablish, who's in control as far as in yourself. Allah is in control of everything, and He gives us our limited control. So, okay, can you control yourself? Can you stop the pleasures of life for the sake of Allah? Can we control ourselves? And it's a battle. And once we make the intention, it becomes a lot easier. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, fasting is something that really helps get your nafs, your spirit in check, and it reinvigorates. It really gives you, it re-empowers you, and it empowers you to know that, look, I'm in control of myself. We know Allah is in control. We're not speaking in that aspect, but Allah has given us this control and given us a choice. So you say, yeah, look, I can stop. What if someone has a drug addiction?
Perfect.
Or they drink alcohol, or they have addiction to the opposite sex in a way that is, not halal. Or what if they eat too much? Or what if, any kind of thing that we want to control ourselves. What if they're a shopaholic or something, right?
So you mean like by fasting, it's like a proof, really like proof, practical proof for me that, well, I'm able to do this. It actually defeats defeatism, not to be gloomy and think of yourself.
It empowers you. What if I'm a smoker, for instance? We got a lot of people who smoke cigarettes, but I know, like when I'm out here in Egypt, you have brothers who smoke, but during the fasting hours, they don't.
Yeah.
And it's like 12, 15 hours.
How do you do it?
Yeah. Allah has given you, He put the reins of the horse back into your hands, the horse of your spirit, put it back in your hands. And you say, hey, if I could stop this for 12 hours or 15 hours, I could stop this, inshallah. Let me work on that. Or even if somebody who drinks or they're doing drugs, Allah, He gives us throughout the year, even now, and this is even after Ramadan, and on this day Allah has recommended those who can to fast. It's not obligatory, but it's highly recommended. And all of these opportunities that Islam gives us to cleanse ourselves. But we have to take the opportunities. We can't think them lightly. We have to believe in them. And do them. These physical things, we take a step to Allah. Maybe our heart is not in the place where we want it to be, but just take a step. I tell people, of course we have to believe in the oneness of Allah. That's the beginning of it. If someone is having a problem with that, if they're just discovering Islam or their faith is weak and the tawheed and the oneness of Allah, then just ask Allah to guide them. So Allah, if you are one, guide me to you. Perfect. That's Iman right there. Guide me to the truth. Oh, creator of the heavens and the earth. Because we hope we're there, that we believe that there is a creator. And if we don't, we could ask, if there is a creator, show me. Just anything to step toward the right direction. And then those who do believe, and perhaps they're not praying, ask Allah.
There are no limits.
Yeah, ask Allah to let me pray.
Let my heart get changed.
Or just let me even if that's another level.
Another level.
But what if you're not even praying and you don't even feel like praying? Now to ask Him to let my heart, I think that would be a great dua. But just let me pray.
SubhanAllah.
And then once they start, let me feel it, let me believe. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah and walk and do the physical things that it takes to get to the next level of where you want to be, where you think you need to be. So even if your heart is not in it, still do the things that you have to do and keep doing them. Don't stop. You know, we have good prayers. We have those prayers where we feel like we're in a whole nother place and we're close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we have those prayers that's like, I'm here, labayk. I'm here praying because I've been ordered to pray and I gotta pray.
And it's not a bad thing. It's accepted too, and
Yeah,
it's something
and it's
that
necessary and it's
it's
obligatory.
necessary,
So don't stop. Allah will bring us along and He tests us.
SubhanAllah.
But whenever it is, even if our heart is not in it, just keep walking in the right way. Never give up. You know?
You know, brother, you reminded me of something. I heard that one of the people, he had doubts. He was a Muslim, but he had doubts. He was a skeptic. But while he was searching for the answers of the questions and so on, he was praying as a Muslim, but after this he had doubts, so he didn't stop prayer.
Yeah.
He continued on doing the prayers until he answered all the questions.
Did he lose anything? He gained more surety. But if we stop praying,
SubhanAllah.
God knows what will happen. Allah knows best what will happen. I mean, the shaitan can get us. We can die in that state. This is such a great pivotal area.
And it's a sign, I'm sorry to cut you off, brother, that he is not playing. He like, there is no malintention.
Yeah.
That I'm doing this because I want to just rid myself of the obligations. No, he really had these questions, and he didn't want to, like, not to burden himself with the prayers or something like this. He continued on.
Yeah.
doing this. So this is a sign that he was sincere.
Yeah.
And Allah is going to guide those who are really sincere in their search
Yeah.
for the truth.
Yeah.
Because as you said, Allah Kareem, Allah Akbar, Allah is
Yeah,
the
he-
generous, is the greatest.
He doesn't gain anything, subhanahu wa ta'ala, from putting us in the hellfire. He doesn't get anything from putting us in heaven either.
Subhanallah.
But he's written for his self-mercy for us. And that's it. The prayer is so very important. It's so very important. And people should just never give up on praying. Whatever kind of day you're having, whatever the situation, hold on to the rope. Maybe it's a test from Allah. It is. Not maybe. It definitely is. This life is a test. Everything in it. So never give up on praying, and you will reach your a good destination, inshallah. If we let go, then perhaps the blinders can come. Well, before I was praying, and I think back on myself, you know, how I was, and my actions and my thoughts, and I was like, how could I be that way? What was I thinking? I wasn't thinking that I would, I mean, I knew that death was a reality, I would return, but now I wasn't thinking about it like seriously, not seriously for myself or any of my family members that were my immediate family. I know it's the reality, you know, but not like really, like kind of, I mean, I know I'm going to die, but it's like, you don't think about
It's
it.
something distant, maybe. It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not imminent.
These things in life that are bad actions. It's like, you know, it reminds me of Surah An-Nur, when it talks about the one who is in the ocean, topped by clouds and clouds and clouds, and there is no light. If he stretches forth his hand before him, he can't even see his hand. He can't see his actions, you know. This is what I thought. Allah
That's
knows
really
best.
good interpretation. Never heard of that.
But I'm not giving a tafsir for this or anything like that, because I'm just a thought that came to my mind. But when we are not praying, not doing these physical things, regardless of how our heart feels, then our hearts can change to the worse, and we won't even feel that change. And then our actions will change, and we won't even feel those actions, and we won't think these are actions are great things, great sins actually, or great good deeds that we could be doing. And we think we're fine. I'm fine. It's like if I have a cold, I'm sick, and I can't smell, you know, your nose goes away sometimes. One time I had a really, really bad cold a few years ago, and my sense of smell, even after the cold went away, it just took like a couple of weeks to come back. It was a really hard flu, you know. And it made me think, it's like, if I was, you know, if I didn't smell good that day, if I didn't put on enough deodorant or I forgot to put it on, I got my best suit on, I'm at work, but I'm smelling bad, and I don't even know it. I'm sick. I don't even know it. I'm walking around thinking I got my best, I'm driving my car, you know, maybe I have some jewelry or my nice watch, nice haircut, and I'm smelling horrible because I'm feeling like I just came from the gym. People, I don't know it. Everyone else can smell me, at least those who are sensitized, you know. So that's kind of how it is with prayer. If we abandon that, then our hearts
Opens your senses.
Well, yeah. If we abandon and go away, it gets rid of our senses. It desensitizes us. But when we're praying, we get resensitized. And this is how it was when I look back on myself and I say, man, how could you even say that or do that or be there or act like that or not pray or not do this or not do this. What were you even thinking? If you just, thought a little bit, then you wouldn't be doing this stuff.
This is actually one of the verses in the Quran for the prayer is تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. So it stops you, it prevents you from doing the evil and bad deeds.
Yeah.
So how can this happen? I think by the same token where you're saying, Brother Abu Said, to change the heart. The heart itself, as you said, maybe I'm avoiding something and I'm trying to struggle, but if the heart really doesn't like it, it's going to be much, much easier. Yeah. And I think when somebody is attached to the prayer, that happens.
Allah changes you. I'm not the greatest guy in the world now, but compared to who I was, that's a few years, not a few, like 10 or whatever years ago, I say, alhamdulillah, mashallah. Allah will change you when you find it, okay, 5 times a day prayer. Yeah, I got to go to work. I got to get up before the sun rises and pray too. Okay. And you start thinking, you think to yourself, you make this mountain, this imaginary mountain, that it's hard. And then some things are kind of hard, but you struggle. And you say, Bismillah, I'm going to try it. And because look at these people making Hajj. It's a struggle. Do you think it's easy? I'm looking at the brothers on Arafat. This brother I'm looking at now on the screen, he doesn't even have an umbrella. He's just standing there with his hands up in this hot sun. Sometimes I wear my cap. And I'm outside, and it's hot in the sun. And I say, wow, if I didn't have that cap, I would get a headache. Look at these brothers. I say, if I want to make Hajj next year, I need to put off the cap for a couple of days or a week, But you strive. What? We think that we are not supposed to strive in the cause of Allah? We are not, Allah is not our servant, and He gives us all this. We are the servants of Allah, every creation. We are the servants of Allah, so we need to strive in His cause. And what we can do, if it's getting up in the morning to please my Lord before the sun rises, He rises the sun and He rises me. He doesn't have to, neither of them have to come up, right? So what is it? It's a small thing to get up 5 minutes and just make prayer. But it might not be easy, you might not love it at the beginning. But now, look at yourself, inshallah, some years later.
Enjoy.
You wake up like, oh, is it the sun? Has it come up? Oh no, that's just the light outside, the street light. Alhamdulillah. You make wudu and when you miss Fajr, your day is ruined. You're addicted to prayer. What happened? This is the same guy who was but this is the same person who a few years ago was like, okay, I want to do it, inshallah. I want to try to do it. And then you look at yourself, or the people look at themselves, and years later, somebody may say, Hajj, okay, 7,000 from America, then I have to go and live in some tents and do this, and then at the end I'm on this field where there's nothing, and I'm with 2 pieces of cloth, and if you think like that, the shaitan can influence you too, and you're like, that doesn't sound too fun, But then, when you read about Hajj, and you read the Quran, and then you see the people going to Hajj, and Allah tells you, and Allah puts it in your heart, then you're like, oh, I couldn't go this year, inshallah, next year. I wish I had the money. I wish I can go. I would leave everything just to do it. I would work for you for a half of a year or maybe a year, okay? If you could just send me to Hajj, we want to go. The ones who, and we're looking at them and we're like, inshallah. By the way, the camera, if you're seeing, we have a monitor here and we're, we're looking at the Hajj, the people who are making Hajj. And we want to be there. I want to be there now. I'm satisfied because it's not written for me to be there. But
Allah make it easier.
Right now, when somebody said take a plane, I say, okay, I can't fulfill all the rights, but let me just go and just hang out with them tonight, right?
Allah make it easy for you, inshallah, next year. But I'm just saying, me and you, inshallah.
Yeah, if Allah has invited us, so we have to be satisfied with whatever Allah decrees for us too. You know what I mean? But we want to, and if we want to, even if we don't make it, Allah will reward us for it. Our hearts, right?
This is very true.
Yeah.
And there's actually even for other acts of worship too, because as for instance, fighting for the cause of Allah.
Yeah.
There are verses and hadith by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that goes to this meaning that if you have an excuse, this excuse is really like you don't have the financial means or physical means, and something stops you from doing this act of worship.
Yeah.
And maybe I died or something, it's going to be accepted.
Yeah. And that's amazing. But I think in that topic, and I just want to kind of a sidebar with that topic of jihad, I think it's really incumbent upon people to educate themselves, because now people are playing with the heart and they're giving them misinformation. and they're persuading their hearts to do things that are un-Islamic totally. So we have to be
killing
careful.
innocent people.
Yeah,
maybe, and
it's not. They're not in the fiqh of Islam. You know, they're not following Islam, but their hearts are persuaded that they're doing the right thing. And you know, I understand because of all the oppression on the earth and the evil that's going on. So it's just like the racism thing we were talking about earlier, right? Where you're in this environment, and you said the Nation of Islam, they felt that all the white people were devils, which is untrue. It's far from the
we
truth.
like this balance between the heart
But they use their environment of being in the ghettos to lie to them, and now they're believing this false ideology. So it's similar to that, where now people are thinking that they're making jihad, fisabilillah, but it's the same thing. It's a big hood, the hood of the world, the bad neighborhood of the world. They're killing you, they're oppressing you, and it's happening. But there's a right way to address this problem.
we have limits.
In a wrong way.
That
Yeah.
what differentiates between us and them.
Yeah.
That we don't do the same
No,
actions.
we just can't be buck wild, but they're playing on their hearts. They're giving them false ideas. So I think just that sidebar is that
very important.
Educate yourself on your religion.
It's very important,
Yeah.
Brother Bassam, that you're saying that it's really related to the topic.
Yeah.
That the heart, it's not an excuse for you
No.
to say that I have a sound heart and I love Allah and I have this is the right cause, so therefore I don't have to have knowledge.
Yeah.
And this was a problem actually, of وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ in the Fatiha. Those who went astray, those people who really sincere, they want actually to worship Allah, but they didn't have the knowledge.
You know, you talk about Christianity now.
Yes.
In America.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know about too many other places, but in America, you have some good people. Allahu Alam. I mean, these people, if you're hungry, they'll give you some food, man. If you don't have a shirt, I know some people, some Christians,
Really kind people.
they will get some of their clothes and give it to you because they're trying. But they have a false understanding. You don't worship a man. You don't worship another man.
And it's something obvious.
Yeah, you don't worship another, but in the church they're, they here singing the songs and they're affecting their heart and they're, you know, do you feel the spirit, you know? And they're emotionally misguiding these people. They affect their heart. But if you would think, it's just not, you know, why Allah has made us very complex human being where we have the facilities of thought. And what I love about Islam is that we don't know everything. We don't know half of everything. We don't know a quarter of everything, not even close. However, Allah gives us rational thought. And when you look at the religion of Islam, you just look at the texts and the history and the chemistry and the science, the astronomy. If you look at the medical, whatever field economic, sociology, so the psychological aspect of all of these things, the Quran and just the Quran and the Sunnah and the lifestyle that Allah has prescribed for us, you say, okay, that's correct. I'm not talking from that holy standpoint where you do get, which is greater than all of those other aspects. When you stand in your prayer and your heart is in it, this is something that is worth anything more than anything in this world. Because if your heart is in it and you connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this feeling of peace and security and calmness, this serene, then you can't purchase it anywhere. It's impossible. I don't care. But getting back, but all these other aspects as well. When you look at things that Allah has prohibited, He's prohibited us alcohol and drugs for a reason.
It's for our own benefit.
Yeah,
actually.
and look, it's clear. It destroys us. And you take a little, I'll just do a little, and then you do a little more and more and more until it's harmful for good people, you know? Good people, but it's destroying them.
And it's really interesting, Brother Sam. I think Sheikh Ahmed Didat, he said this. It was like he was in a debate. So he was saying like to the other preacher that in America you have like an epidemic of alcoholism.
Yeah.
And this is widespread, and you try to have I think it calls the prohibition period.
Yeah, yeah.
And at that time, you didn't know how to stop people. These rulings actually, it increased.
Yeah, increased crime because they made it illegal. So now they have to punish these people, get all these police and killing more people. And
you had cartels and so on.
Yeah.
But he said, Ahmed Didat, may Allah have mercy on him, that just by one verse in the Quran, the Muslims stopped. We have now like 1.5 billion people are Muslims. They stop alcohol just by one verse in the Quran. So that comes back to the change of the heart.
Yeah. We have to build them up. We have to build our iman. I mean, if you think about it, and I mean, if it was prohibited for them, or it was always haram, and we're just clearly, this is prohibited for you, then I heard they were throwing their jugs of alcohol into the street. But they have to build up to that. I mean, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he worked on their iman, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, really, through the Prophet, he worked on their iman, this group of the best people. He worked on their faith. So their faith was to a point where they could just throw that aside.
They wanted actually the verse to be revealed at that time.
Yeah.
They wished, and prayed for Allah, oh Allah, just reveal a verse that prohibits this.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
One of them is companion Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah have his pleasure on him. He said this, and he asked Allah for the final, because as you said, brother, it's a very important point too, the gradual prohibition of the alcohol. Like in the beginning, it has benefits. And it has some of the disadvantages, but the disadvantages are more than advantages. So to make people not to like it and so on.
Dislike it.
The other point is not to approach prayer while you are intoxicated. Just not avoid prayer at that time. And finally, before the final verse, some of the companions, they wished, oh Allah, reveal a final just prohibition of it.
Yeah, it's step by step. And by the way, they were praying. So if they're drinking and praying, keep praying.
Perfect.
Because this is what's going to change the situation. And if someone say that they're doing drugs or alcohol, you see, Islam is the cure. So it gets back all the way back down to the beginning of believing in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing in His prophets, believing in the books, the angels, the last day, believing in Allah.
And Allah can change anything.
Yeah. Then once you got that, then you start to let your actions reflect what you believe. But you got to believe in the oneness of Allah.
Perfect.
And I believe enough to say, well, yeah, I believe in Allah, but I don't think I should have to pray 5 times a day. So, well, is the Quran the truth? Ask yourself, this is a serious question. If you question maybe it is, okay. That's rational to have some doubts. Let's look at it.
Oh, let's have discussion.
Okay, whatever book you have, the Bible, the Torah, look at the history. Now, read the book too. Look at the history, look at everything, look at it. Now, what do you think after looking at it? Is it true or is not? You tell me what is this religion, was the prophet a true prophet? Was he? If you have some doubts, I don't have any doubts. Alhamdulillah. May Allah keep my heart firm on His religion. But you say, well, okay, let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at the history. Let's look at what happened in the history. That's a history that not only from the Islamic. Let's look at a broad historical. Everyone acknowledges Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have people who talked about him that weren't Muslims and said he's the number one in the 100 men of the world. That's
Michael
great
Hart.
that they said.
Michael Hart.
Yeah, that's great that they said that, though. Allah has already told us that. But it's great that you have non-Muslims acknowledging that. For people who have doubt, say, well, why did he say that? Okay, let's look at what he was talking about. He was talking about believing in one God, being good to your family, keeping the family relations, not being unjust to women, not killing people unjustly, despite what the news is saying and all this stuff. He's talking about all of these principles that are not only in Islam, but they are the main pillars through all the other religions. And he's basing it all on the oneness of God, what Abraham said. He's basing it off of what Musa said, Moses said. It's the first commandment, even in the Bible, take no other God before me. But is it true or not? Is it Ibrahim, he built the Kaaba with his son. It's a historical fact, and it's the center of Islam, and he's the father of religion.
Who is following him right now?
Yeah, look at now. Look, these are the rituals.
Millions of people.
But so is this the truth or not? Look rationally, okay? Because when we talk, so we're attacking that doubt, and then when we do it with what? Knowledge, not attacking. I should even use a better word.
Yeah,
we're addressing that.
And subhanAllah, what you're saying, I remembered, it's a little bit of side note, but it's related to the point when you talked about Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Isa, Prophet Jesus. In the Bible, he was described in the New Testament that he went away from people and he prostrated. He went on his face, literally. So who is doing this right now?
Yeah, look at Maryam, may Allah be pleased with her. If you look at her and you look at, the depictions of her, which I don't agree with. You know what I mean? But
I
look
mean
at
the
her.
modesty.
It looks like she looks like a Muslima.
Who looks
She's
like her?
wearing hijab, you know. If you even look at the brothers,
No,
look at the
but no
Muslim
Christian
brothers.
would dare to just have a picture of Mary without a scarf. That wouldn't.
I never even saw that.
No.
She looks like a Muslim. Even if you look at all the depictions of the Prophet, they look like the Muslim brothers. You see, you know, with the long beards. I mean, look now. I mean, Hajj, they got the two white things and the long beards. You know, this looks more like Isa than wearing a suit. And I also like suits, by the way. You know, I'm not against suits, but it looks more like Isa alayhi salam. So if you in Islam, this is the beauty of it, that if you just look into it, you will, if with an open mind. And it has everything backing it up. 1,400 years later, even the technology of modern day, how did that happen? Okay, but that's the doubts. But then we have another part when we talk about the heart. We have our own desires, right? Because maybe, okay, yeah, that's all good. Yeah, I read that, man, but
I love
this
that.
drink is kind of, you know, I like to drink, so, you know, I'm craving it. I'm craving a drink. What am I going to do about the fact that I'm physically addicted to a substance, or I'm mentally addicted to a person, or whatever the situation may be? What can I do about that? Okay, well, one, the knowledge can help you. Once you get that knowledge and you're sound in your knowledge, do the things that the knowledge commands you to do, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Al-Alim commands us to do, the knowledgeful. Do that. And then Allah will purge your heart and your body from these things that if we really examine our lives, and it's a continual process, because we're never perfect, we're never pure, yani. So when we look at Allah, when we look to Allah, and we look at ourselves and we want to purge ourselves from the evils and the sins, it's kind of like going to make Hajj, you know. I mean, they're crying now on Arafat. They're crying to Allah for Jannah. Make me a better person. Give me Jannah. Forgive me for this. Forgive me for that. Let me change my life. Facilitate me in being a good person and pleasing you. Help me. Help. I can't do it by myself. It's like a AA program, you know. Even though non-Muslims,
we have this in AA,
yeah.
actually.
Even the non-Muslims, they say, look,
You have to believe.
you gotta kind of surrender. Astaslam. I surrender to the higher power, you know, higher force. And if you have knowledge, you can really speed up that process, because you have knowledge. The creator of the heavens and the earth knows me personally.
Perfect. That's perfect.
And he's in control of every aspect of my life. You have people who I don't like doing what I'm doing, but I'm addicted to this. I know I'm a bad person when I do this, but I'm addicted. How can I change my heart? Ask Allah. You don't have control over your heart. You know, I was looking at the tafsir of Surah An-Nisa, and I forgot, it's a verse in there, and it talks about, you know, men having more than one wife, polygamy. And it's in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, and it's something that people can look up. And it was very interesting hadith that I read. I hadn't read before. It was just like a week or something ago. And it talked about, and I haven't memorized it, but what I got from it is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was speaking about how you have to be just with your wives. You're splitting your property correctly with them. You know, this is what you have to do. It's your hands. You can do that. But your heart. So he made dua, some to the effect of, I will be just with what I possess. And oh Allah, you are just with what you possess, which is the heart. I will split up my rations.
I'm not going to love all my wives
to
the same level.
Yeah. I'll give her, you know, however many $1,000 or pounds this month. She gets the same, and do the math. You know, she gets a dress, she gets the gold, she gets the gold. You know. But what about my heart and who I love?
SubhanAllah. It comes to the action, and this is a very good point also when it comes to children.
Yeah.
Like dealing with children. Do I have to love all my children at the same level? You cannot control this.
So we ask Allah to make us just in our hearts.
SubhanAllah.
Allah, He's the possessor of our hearts. He is the possessor of our hearts. So we ask Allah to guide us. Perhaps you can have some type of, you know, be as just as possible, you know? So because Allah, He guides our hearts. We don't actually. We're not in control of how we feel in our hearts. We're not. we're not in control of anything. So we got to ask Allah. This is the key. We got to ask Allah. We're not in control of our finances. We're not in control of our health. We're not in control of our families. We're barely in control of ourselves. And that's, not to rhyme, right? But we're not.
It can be a song.
Yeah, that's my new
Nasheed,
right? But we're not. We can control our intentions. We could say, I need to make salat. I need to pray. I intend, when Fajr comes, to make wudu and make Fajr. Maybe something happens. Maybe I die before then. Maybe I'm too sick to do that. But I have the intention. So this is what it is. I have the knowledge. I have the intention to do what's right.
So
Allah.
it's really important to Brother Sam and the point of the intention. We're going to come back to it, and sorry to cut you off.
No problem.
But we're going to go to Brother John Fountain from Arafat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, brother. Assalamu alaikum, Brother John.
Assalamu alaikum, salam.
How are you doing?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
We hope that everything is going fine.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So
all good.
we'd like to start with like a basic question. As you're standing in Arafat, what are the emotions in general that you feel and the emotions that are around you in Arafat?
Yeah, subhanAllah, it's a big eye-opener. You know, this morning we was walking from one side of Arafat to the other, trying to get to the area near the masjid. And subhanAllah, there's people from all over the world here, you know, all different people, different cultures, you know, subhanAllah, you know, poor people, rich people, you name it. It's an amazing experience, subhanAllah.
SubhanAllah. Is this the first time for you, Brother John, to go for Hajj?
No, this is the second time. No. I went to Hajj for the first time about 5 years ago. So this is my second Hajj now. Alhamdulillah.
So people always say that when you go for the first time Hajj in general, you have like feelings that cannot be described. Like you can imagine what you like, but the feelings during Hajj itself, you cannot describe them. Is this true?
Yeah, of course. SubhanAllah, it's an amazing experience. It's when the Muslims from all over the world coming together, you know, just to worship Allah and seek that forgiveness. You know, and it's especially when you go near the mountain. It's, you know, you see everyone there, and it's very emotional. You know, people praying and making dua, and everyone has their own troubles and worries, and everyone's making their own duas, and Allah's answering everyone's dua, inshallah.
So you mentioned that, Brother John, the point of like different backgrounds are there on Mount of Arafat. So how can we, in your view, learn from this experience when we come back from Hajj in our countries? And of course we come back like, if you're from England, another one from America, another one from Saudi Arabia, another one is Indian and Pakistani, we come back to our countries, and maybe if we have differences, they come back to the surface again. So how can we practically just learn from the lessons that as you see beside you?
How can what, sorry?
So maybe, should I repeat the question again?
Yes, you can do, yeah.
No problem. What I was saying that the lessons learned from your standing like among like the different backgrounds from different countries, like if you're from England and other people from America, people from India and Pakistan and so on. Of course we have our differences when we go back to our countries, and maybe we have our own like trouble and so on. So how can we learn from the moment that you are standing and other brothers and sisters that we can resolve our issues and our problems and to become unified again?
Yeah, I mean, because I come from England, it's already a very multicultural society. You know, so we're used to seeing Muslims from different cultures, different backgrounds, different understandings of Islam, different madahib, etc. But at the same time, you know, a lot of these people from different countries have never come across different cultures. So it's very new to them, you know. People coming from Arabia or Africa or Asia, you know, they might never have seen other cultures. You can see a lot of people learning and mixing. It's quite an interesting time, subhanAllah.
So we can say, Brother John, that it breaks the stereotypes. Like when you have stereotypes about certain people, like they go away.
Pardon?
I'm saying that the stereotypes that people have like from the media, as you said, about like the people they don't meet
Yeah.
other cultures and so on, they break down, they just dissolve. Do you agree with that?
So, sorry, I can't hear you. Can't understand properly.
I was saying the stereotypes that we have, like
The stereotypes, yeah.
against each other. Like if
Yes.
somebody, as you said, from different backgrounds and so on, and the media can fuel like this, like pouring like fuel on fire. So is Hajj, and specifically in Arafat, can this become like a change of hearts for people to break these stereotypes?
Yes. SubhanAllah.
SubhanAllah. So would you like to add the final notes in the end for the brothers and sisters who didn't go for Hajj and they want to aspire for
The
standing
main
Arafat?
thing is just don't delay, you know. Try your best. You know, people think, oh, it's expensive, or I'll do it when I'm older, but no, they should try and do it as soon as possible. You know, at least have the intention and the goal to go to Hajj. It should be on every Muslim's mind to complete the 5 pillars of Islam.
Yeah.
Just try your best to go, inshallah.
Brother John, we have Brother Abdeslam with us. He's from the United States. He wants to talk with you.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
I just ask, just pray for me while you're there, man. Pray that Allah blesses us, and pray for the whole ummah, I'm sure. But make a prayer for your brother Abdul Salam while you're there in this blessed place, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan, Brother John Fountain
Jazakallah.
from Arafat. Jazakallah
Okay.
khairan. That was really beautiful, Brother Abdeslam.
Yeah, we need it, bro. This opportunity that they have there, man. I mean, when you think about Hajj, I've been wanting to actively go for like 10 to 15 years. Every year I say, and I try, but inshallah. But just to be there, man, and it's like the rehearsal for the Day of Judgment, and really, this life, bro, is so, it's going to be over at a time, and we really are going to be facing our deeds. It's inevitable that every single one of us, we're going to face our record. And what a beautiful thing would be to have that in the books, to have that there in the books to counterbalance all of the other stuff. And perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us all of our sins, and you have that Hajj there. I'm sure it's going to be that. The currency in the akhirah is, is good deeds, is deeds itself, I should say. And may Allah accept the Brother John's Hajj and forgive all of his sins and bless him, and all of the sincere people making Hajj, may Allah make them all sincere. And may Allah bless us to make Hajj, inshallah. Ameen.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So, mashallah, we talked about so many points related to the heart. So,
yeah.
And the balance also between the heart and the intellect. And we as Muslims, we don't say that we are good people and we have good intentions, that's it. We don't.
No, we gotta, yeah.
You have to balance. And also, there's something else that some people, they say, I have a sound heart, I don't have to do anything.
Really? Really? How did you do that?
Just between me and God.
Yeah. How did you do that? Because the ones who really have a sound heart, I don't think they would dare to say something like that. No one's safe, man. And that's the thing. We're still, as long as we're, and it sounds a little weird, but as long as we're alive, we're not safe. Until we have died and Allah has accepted our deeds, our good deeds, and forgiven our evil deeds, and we are not safe. This is a very dangerous situation that the human beings are in. We are in a grave, dangerous situation. No matter how rich or poor, or whatever walk of life, we have a possibility of entering eternal torment, which is unfathomable.
May Allah protect us.
Yeah, I mean, we can't fathom it, but I believe it because I'm sure about it. I mean, we've been told, and the signs are here for us.
Yes.
And that's dangerous. It's more dangerous than a bird flying in the sky. It's more dangerous than a chicken in the slaughter yard. He's only going to get killed once, So, I mean, and then we're in a situation where it's a very, how should I say, a very opportune situation, We have the greatest opportunity ever to enter eternal salvation. eternal bliss where there is no problems. Words cannot express, and my mind cannot fathom how good it is. And when Allah gives us, these are signs in the ayah in the Quran. You know, when we have signs in the world, it's going to go that way. The masjid is this way. It's a sign, but it's not the masjid. It's just a sign. We can't fathom the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about in the Quran and in His revelations that He's in before the Quran. You know, we can't imagine the truth and what they really are. So this life that we're living, it's great beyond what we can imagine. All we have to do is trust, believe in Allah, trust in Allah, follow the right way, endure the hardships with patience, endure the good times with gratitude.
I was about to ask this question about gratitude, because we mentioned the importance of patience, and also the other side of the coin is gratefulness. So, and I think we mentioned this before, the point when you're doing Hajj, you are coming back to the basics. You're just like, maybe you're eating so little, of course you're wearing almost nothing, and look at the hardships and so on. So, and maybe you sleep on the ground and so on. So coming back to the basics and knowing that, oh wow, all of the things that I just took for granted back home, the bed that I was sleeping on, and all the things. We would like to touch upon this, the gratefulness, and because I think it is an act of worship, it's related also to the heart. It comes back to reflecting and also being affected. So would you like to touch upon this?
But mashallah, man, I mean, when you said reflecting, because look, if I get something good from Allah, I think when we all get something good, it's easy to be grateful though. My new car, I'm happy, you know. Then after a little while, you get used to it. And then you just, it's just like, oh, where's my car? It's broken, I have to have it. Okay, it's here, cool. It becomes a regular kind of function of what you need. And a part of your life.
Sense of entitlement.
Yeah, not necessarily grateful. Sometimes you can have gratitude, sometimes. But to reflect, if you say, I remember when I didn't have this. Or I need to go to this place. Alhamdulillah, I still have my car, it's still working, and it's working well, and you know what I mean? And even after it breaks, alhamdulillah, I used it. It was a great car, it did a lot of things for me. I don't have it anymore, but I'm grateful for the time that I had it.
So I can remind myself. I can say, like, before this I didn't have. And I think that it was like coming back to the story of when an angel came in the form of a human being to 3 different people. They had different diseases. One of them was blind, one was leper, and the third, I think, was bald. And each one of them, he went separately, the angel went separate to them. What would you like? What do you wish for? And they wished for a certain type of finance, like they wanted to have sheep, for instance, camels and so on, every one of them. And they wanted to be healed and recover from their disease, from the blindness or leprosy or so on and so forth. So what happened, to cut the story short, what happened is that after years or after they became rich, the angel came to them in the form of a poor man, a beggar, and asked each one separately, I want something from you. So the leper and the bald, they used to be like this, but now they are healed. They said, oh no, we have so many expenses, but he reminded them, the poor man, when they said this, made the excuses, that I remember, one day you were a leper, you had this disease, you were bald. So they said, no, they denied it. We bequeathed all of this from generations and generations. We had like a royal lineage or something like this. They wanted to say something like that. So he said to them something like, if you're truthful about this, may Allah protect you, and if the opposite, may all of this go away. And when he went to the blind man, he said, you can take whatever you want. He used to be blind, of course, now he sees. So he said to him something like, he just said, without reminding him, that I was blind and I was poor, and Allah bestowed so many blessings on me, and therefore take whatever you want. So he told him that I'm an angel from God, and Allah is satisfied with you and He's angry with you both, two other men. And they were like stripped from all what they had. But he was like blessed. So this is the point where you're saying, Brother Salam, from this hadith, that to remember, to just remind myself, I wasn't rich. Maybe I wasn't healthy at a point of my life. Maybe at one point, for people who struggle to get married or to work a job, because as you say, getting used to a comfort zone and just forgetting.
And it's so hard I mean, life is not easy sometimes, and when we're trying to stay steadfast, and you work a long time and you wait a long time to get in a certain position or to be free from some bad thing, or to, like you say, get married, or to graduate college, or without it, it's very difficult. You can't, function without certain things in life. But once we get them, we do have to remember. We do have to reflect, because it becomes like, even with your spouse. Before you're married, the brothers, and the sisters, it's like, they're striving in the way of Allah, and they're being patient, and they're like doing the right thing. They could be waiting for years and years. They don't know how they're going to get the money, and they don't know where they're going to find the right person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He facilitates everything. When it looked like before, it was like, this looks impossible.
Yes.
Ya Allah, when? I was crying, right? But then, a year or so later, or before that, or after that, you're okay, going to work, see you later, and you have to think, alhamdulillah. It's now this is your lifestyle. It's just like everything else. Maybe you wanted children. Didn't have any children, you were barren for so long, maybe you're married, and then it's okay, go to school or whatever, here's your lunchbox. It becomes regular. We're human, so we're going to get into that regular autopilot mode, which is regular. But like you said, we reflect and say, we were grateful to this person. Alhamdulillah. I was in so much pain. I waited so long. It was so difficult. It looked like it didn't happen. I cried to Allah. Now look, it's just like regular life. And this is the way things work, by the way. Some things happen miraculously in life, but miracles are not common. That's why they're miracles, right? They're not common. And a lot of things happen, these bounties of Allah, just like us seeing each other now and blinking and hearing each other, these great blessings. I have to remind myself, alhamdulillah, they just happen regular. You pray, you're doing your 5 prayers, and you say, I need food, I don't have a job, perhaps I'm between jobs, I need to find a way to pay my rent. And then you get that call, you get the job, you just got the job like regular. Oh, I've interviewed for that job 3 weeks ago, they finally called me. I can't believe they're calling me today, this is amazing, alhamdulillah. But let us remember that, all of these things that really happen, Allah always rescues us, 100%.
Yes.
He always gives us this or that, or this or that. And we have to be grateful and remember and let that strengthen our faith. So when our iman, so when we get into a situation where now it's in front of us, it's not, and you say, you know what, Allah got me on this one.
SubhanAllah.
Allah got me on this one. I just have to wait, be patient, and see how I trust in Allah that He's going to somehow deliver me from this hardship. It happened to me, man. I'm not a rich man. I don't have much. I do my nasheed sometimes. I have good and bad days. I was driving Uber last summer, not this summer, in America, and I kind of was low on gas money, right? And I went to, you got to have your money. You got to have gas money if you're going to work. So I said, man, I was just in America for the summer, so I said, I work Uber, but I didn't have a lot of money, right? So I was running out of gas, and I didn't have any money. I had like $1 or something.
Wow.
Like $1.50. This is not enough gas to do. It wasn't enough, right? So I'm like, whatever. I'm cool. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be calm because I believe in Allah, that He's really got me. He got me. He's going to take care of me. He's done more. If my car stops, it's the will of Allah. Whatever happens, it's the will of Allah. But I know I need food money. I know I need gas money. This is just the way life is right now. Unless something else happens and I don't, right? So I'm happy. So I go to the gas station, and I tell the guy, and I'm like kind of joking, put this on there. This is all I have. Just put it in my tank. It's $1 and something. And very little money. It's like a joke, right? It's a joke. So I'm pumping the gas, and it goes past what they gave me. I said, wow, that's a generous brother, mashallah. Wow. I said, this is a nice brother. And then it keeps going. And then it got to the point where it stopped. I'm like, I'm almost full. He's not that nice. Let me go inside. Right. This is a lot of gas now. It's like $25 for gas. I was like, wow, man. I was like, thank you, You really gave me a lot of gas. He said, I did what? He said, he said, and he looked, he said, oh, brother, it was. I said, okay. I said, I'm about to get paid from Uber because I got the money now. I'm going to work. I got a check coming when I'm going to pay you. because, my name is Abdul Salam. Here's my number. I gave him my number because it's barakah. Allah just looked out for me in a way that was just, I didn't have anything. So then, weeks went by, and I was about to travel back here to Egypt, and I said, I got my money. Alhamdulillah, Allah really blessed me. Actually, it was doing the Ramadan. Allah really blessed me at that time to have more than I expected, And I'm getting ready to travel back. And I said, you know what? Let me go visit that brother at the gas station. So I visited him, and he said, I was just about to call you. He said, my brother came and he paid out of his pocket the money that you took because I didn't want to get into trouble at work. So he said, I gave you time. He said, I was just about to call you up, and I gave him the money. And then he said, and I found he was Muslim. The guy. I didn't even know he was Muslim when this happened, And then he was just like, he was happy that I kept my word with him. And then I was just like, alhamdulillah. That experience really strengthened my faith more. And so whatever hardships we face in the future, just trust in Allah. Be grateful. Remember what Allah did for you before. And be grateful for that, and let it build our iman, build the faith in our hearts. Build our hearts, because this is it. We have challenges in this life. And that, you have people who have done great things in this life. But if I give up, and I don't believe I can, if my heart is weak, then I could be this close to accomplishing my mission and then give up, So our hearts, this is like a rizq, this faith in Allah, it's a sustenance, like food. It's more than food, because it will bring you food. Allah will bring you the dunya. He will put it in front of you. But this faith, He will test us with hardships. And may Allah just bless us to have sound hearts. And ithbit qulubana ala deenuhu,
to make us steadfast.
Yeah, make us steadfast. Fasten our hearts. Make our hearts steadfast on His deen, on His religion. And the ones who are not even in His religion, may Allah guide them to this religion.
SubhanAllah, I remember something also very beautiful. What you said is very beautiful, brother Abdul Salam. The point of when you said that you pray that Allah changes your heart also came to the point of gratitude, that you do not control it. So, and there is a verse in the Quran, I think it was said by Prophet Solomon, رَبِّ أَوْزِعْنِي أَنْ أَشْكُرَ نِعْمَتَكَ الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيَّ, which means that, oh Allah, like make me able to thank your blessings that you bestowed upon me. So he is a prophet, he's a messenger of Allah, and he was asking Allah, and he was a king, and he was asking Allah, oh Allah, help me, support me, make me able to thank you, because I cannot control it.
Yeah, and it's really bad not to be grateful, by the way. And it's easy to be ungrateful.
Yes.
The shaitan, he said you will find most of them ungrateful. This is one of the shaitan's promises. He wants to make us ungrateful for the favors of Allah. He doesn't want to make us poor or, he might want to use that tool, but that's not his goal, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So he wants us to be ungrateful to Allah. And it's just something I have to really remind myself of. Maybe I don't have the things that I want, or the things are not the way I want, but look at what you do have. Open the news. Open it up. Look at your fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. Hey man, thank Allah for what's going on with you today in your life. That's what I tell myself. You look at Myanmar, man.
No.
I mean, wow, right now, I was just reading some news yesterday. They're really having a hard time. The UN is saying these are the worst. These people, the one article I was reading defined genocide. What the UN defines as genocide. And what's happening to them meets all of those criteria. They're the most oppressed. They're being described as the most oppressed people on the planet.
Yeah.
But people are not saying, oh, we need to do something about them. You talk about terrorism, which is bad.
They never said that they're terrorists.
Yeah. These people are but the UN is saying that this is the worst thing that's happening that we know about right now. These people that have been living there for years, I don't even want to talk about the atrocities that's going on there. It's unimaginable, man. It's the stuff that I was reading about. The Facebook, I didn't even share it because of the picture. They had a real picture of what's going on. I said, I don't want to share this on my Facebook. You know what I mean? The picture of the real carnage.
So graphic and gruesome.
Yeah, it's like, and it's happening. And it's happening. They said one day, 3,000 people fled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just in one day.
So it's really kind of unimaginable to me, honestly. I'm sitting here with you in the air-conditioned studio. It's like, I understand But to really see this and that be a part of my life, I never experienced anything like that. And then they say the refugee camps that they're fleeing to in Bangladesh are horrible. I get nervous if, like, I see litter and trash around.
Yeah.
You know, this just makes me nervous. I like clean neighborhoods. But then I have to say, hey, I bet you it's better than that.
SubhanAllah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you know what I mean?
It's not humane, like they don't live like human.
It's beyond really, and it's really a curse. I mean, Allah knows best, man. As Muslims, we need to get our stuff together. May Allah bless us, man, to get our stuff together and change our hearts, because we need to change as a ummah, I believe. I need to change as a person, and we need to change as a ummah. We need to change for the better, man.
You know, Brother Abdul, the point that you said about Myanmar, we would like to remind ourselves and dear brothers and sisters to, especially in this day, to pray for all the brothers and sisters. We are doing iftar, and of course everyone has an accepted, inshallah, dua for at the breakfast of the fasting. So we can do this collectively, like.
Man, alhamdulillah, you brought that point up, because like I said, I just said we need to change, but we can't change that, right? And Allah doesn't
You
change.
actually brought this from the beginning.
Yeah, we can't change it, right? So let me just rephrase that right now. Let's pray that Allah changes our situation. Walk and do what we can. But yeah, that's great. And that's a great reminder. And can I reiterate what you just said?
Of course, sure.
Because yes, man, now this is a great opportunity for everybody specifically to pray for the people.
And it's about unity too.
In Myanmar.
You're talking about
and everything else, that Allah, not only them.
Syrian, Myanmar, in Iraq, every place in there.
To specifically mention them in your dua, if the people are fasting anywhere, and like you just said, they break the fast on this day of Arafat. This is probably one of the best days to pray. Let us do that. For the people of Myanmar, for the people in Syria, and all of the Muslims being oppressed, and all of the Muslims all over the globe. Yeah, that's great, man. Allah is great. That is a good idea.
Great.
Let's do that. And when we're off the cameras and when we're about to get that date, and it's 5 minutes till the sun is going down, and even if we're not fasting.
SubhanAllah, that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's related to the same topic of changing the heart.
Yeah.
When we like think of our brothers, and we can be brothers or sisters, of course, we can be in the same situations.
Yeah.
Tables may turn easily.
There is no guarantee, bro. I mean, they're Muslim and I'm Muslim. I mean, you can say, well, okay, they're not Muslim and they don't believe, so they don't have that connection. No.
They're Muslims too?
They're Muslims. They're praying. I'm praying. So I have to be grateful. And but Allah changes things that we think that, this has been like this, or there's too many, this army is too big, or that government is oppressing them, or this person is bad, and I don't have, my hands are tied. Yeah, you can't do anything. Don't try to do anything stupid, by the way. Okay, but you can do something. Even when your hands are tied, you can lift them up and pray.
That's a very good analogy.
Pray to Allah, because Allah changes things, and that's the changer of things. You look at Musa. Those people he delivered. This really happened. It's true. You don't think so? Okay, look, it's on all the holy books. It's not just in the Quran. It really happened. Allah changes things. He surprises us, We pray and we take the steps and do what we can do. And you're like, what? I didn't expect that to happen. This is real. So Allah is real. And let us make prayer and ask Allah. And like you just mentioned, this is a golden opportunity for us to, on this day, on this blessed day out of the whole year, and in the situation that we're in as Muslims.
And we'd like also, sorry to cut you off, brother, if somebody is watching us, he can just deliver something practical also. Of course, dua is the top of the practical steps, but I mean that if somebody has the finances, has the ability, has to do something like shelters, as you said, that are horrible, they can help with them. They can do this.
Yeah, in Bangladesh, I don't think they're under the threat, like they were talking about the people from Myanmar, the same threat that they would be in when they're in their region on the other side of the border. But it's in such bad conditions. So, if you can reach them, you can bring some money or whatever you can bring, some blankets or some food, try to help their situation. And that's what I thought when I read it. I said, okay, that's a dangerous situation. I'm not equipped to deal with that situation over there. But this situation over here, maybe I can affect that. Maybe I can affect travel or bring them some food or send some money. You know, the ones who are equipped to deal with either situation. You know, Allah gives people different capacities to do the things that, you know, that are within the sunnah, the fiqh of Islam, you know. Whatever you can do what is in your ability to do. And a lot of people say, okay, look, that's thick for you. You know, you can't. It's political. You're traveling. People might say, oh, you're a terrorist, or whatever they might say. It's a lot of, you know, the way the world is right now. You know, you have to be careful what you do and you say, regardless of your intentions, because people could try to pin some stuff on you. Say, hey, look, hey, man, I didn't come here for all this. I didn't. This is not my intention. I didn't do nothing like this, and you have to clarify for them. But even so, let us, you know, let us help our brothers and sisters and not be afraid to reach out our hand in any way we can to help. You know, financially helping them, and it may not be those people, but any people. You know, and anything that we can do to help. Sometimes we think we can't, but like you said, practically, we can. It's a lot of us. If we just, you know, come together and we focus on, and we're within the religion, we're not doing anything that is outside of what's been prescribed by Allah and His Messenger. And that's why it's incumbent upon us to have knowledge before we take action. Because we can find ourselves in a lot of trouble, politically even, okay? Because you're doing the wrong things and you think you're doing the right things. Or with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, that's before even politically. Because one day all it's going to be gone
that's
anyway,
the most important
right?
part.
Yeah, this is going to be gone. It's a test. It's going to be gone. You know, so, you know, it's incumbent upon us before we take any action of any sort, let us do our studying, let us understand what we're doing, understand our deen, understand the context of the verses in the Quran and the context of the hadith and the tafsir of, because that'll help us be a balanced individual and a balanced ummah.
We always emphasize, Brother Bassam, on the importance of knowledge.
Yeah, it's really important. And I'm not a sheikh. I'm just, alhamdulillah, you guys invited me here. But I mean, I do a little studying. Anything that, you know, I do and that I don't know about, I try to get a little knowledge, especially Islamic knowledge about it, because we don't want to make any mistakes. And for those good-hearted Muslims, you know, you got good-hearted people, but they don't have knowledge, and people are leading them astray too. You know, you have, oh, I want to do good for my ummah, I want to do good, and then they can be led astray with misinformation and be doing things that are wrong and haram, and they can find themselves oppressors. Or you can have that individual who is not doing enough.
That's really very nice, Brother Bassam. We're going to come back, inshallah, but after going to Professor Muhammad Saeed, Professor of Islamic Law from Taibi University. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother, and my greetings to all viewers and Muslims throughout the whole world.
Jazakallah khairan. We are happy and pleased to have you, Professor Muhammad, and we'd like to start with the importance and the significance of this day of Arafat for all the Muslims around the world in general, and also for people standing in Arafat, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower all His mercy on the caravan of the believers who had the opportunity of getting access to the plain of Arafat and to accept all of their Hajj and all of their righteous deeds. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also to shower all His mercy to all Muslims who did not join them and who had the deep wish to participate in Hajj, inshallah, next year. The significance of the day of Arafah, I think that it accumulates, it is summarized in one of the verses in Surah Al-Ma'idah, which has been actually revealed on that day, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Today I have perfected my blessings on you, and I have completed my religion, and I have chosen Islam as your own religion. This ayah has been revealed to the Prophet ﷺ on that day, and it summarizes the whole Islam. The day of Arafah represents the whole principles of Islam. It represents the beginning of history and the end of history. It represents the end of blessings because it is one of the best days. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he delivered his speech on that day, he founded the basic principles of that religion. And he set up criteria and standards upon which the whole Ummah should live and live for. Because the Prophet ﷺ did not only address the people attending his sermon, but he addressed his nation which were at that time in the womb of the unseen. Significance of the day of Arafah is that it represents number of meanings that Muslims should actually have and should actually get in their own selves. On the top of them, they have to get a dynamic change from state of chaos and disorder and disunity to be united. Number two, to return back to the basic principles of Islam in equality and having a mutual respect amongst themselves. The significance of the day of Arafah is that it is a day which reminds us of the last day where all people will be gathered together in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for accountability. So it should be a dynamic change to return to Allah in repentance, to refer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in repentance. The day of Arafah represents a day of emancipation from sin and the hell. The day of Arafah should represent actually a beginning for all Muslims. Either those who attended Arafah and they were blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to step their feet on the plane, and for those who are still waiting or those who did not join it.
Professor Muhammad, we'd like to ask the questions as you are in Arafat. We'd like to know the likes of the atmosphere around you. What are the emotions around you?
I have, subhanAllah, when you look at the faces of people, you walk with them, you sit with them. I wish I can actually ask everybody, what do you need? What do you ask for? I'm quite sure everybody has just one goal from this visit, which is, I just need the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just need, that's sufficient for me. I'm content with just the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to forgive my sins. When I look at the people, there are many people, masses of people. Each body talks in his own language. Everybody has a wish. Everybody has a dua. Everybody has a concept. Everybody is alive by himself. So subhanAllah, how Allah responds to all of those people and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala understands their languages. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows their worries, their concerns, and He definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would accept their dua, because according to the authentic hadith that He draws Himself, He descends in a way that suits His majesty, and He boasts in front of the angels and say, what do those people ask for? They ask for your forgiveness, Ya Allah. And you have already promised the people, you have already promised the hands that are raised for your sake in sincerity that you will accept them and you will not turn them away. So this is the hope in you. I see mercy actually, compassion, respect and love in the faces of people. Everybody compete to just please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by helping the other. It's a unique environment and it's a unique event and it's a unique act of worship. Yes, we have a lot of deficiencies and we have a lot of problems, but I think all differences, all conflicts have been wiped out, have been actually disappeared. They have all disappeared. I have people in front of me who actually are all equal. They are really equal. I also see a scenario of people who get rid of the vanities of this life. They just wish to live a very simple life, returning back to the state of nature, which is al-fitra, simplicity. So at the end, I see people walking towards Allah, and I'm sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will consent. I'm sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not turn us back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have good expectations in His mercy, inshallah.
Professor Muhammad, that was really comprehensive answer, and we hope that you don't forget to pray for us, inshallah, for all the cast here in the studio and the guests and everyone, and we hope that your Hajj is accepted, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. So we're gonna have, inshallah, like a message, and our crew from Huda TV, from Saudi to channel, inshallah, gonna go to a live coverage. So stay tuned.
Alhamdulillah, Allah granted me this golden opportunity to come here, this blessed place, seeking forgiveness of Allah and performing the fifth pillar of Islam, which is Hajj. Alhamdulillah. And my story to come here is really miraculous. I say it miraculous, and I believe some people would wonder, is it miraculous? Everyone could apply for Hajj and come, apply for visa and come to Hajj. But Alhamdulillah, Allah show me how He choose, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses people to come to this blessed place.
Indeed. Now, Brother Junaid, obviously the image of Islam had been distorted, sometimes hijacked by a small group of people who claim to be Muslim, committing a sort of a terrorist and violent act in the name of Islam. My question to you, coming to this holy site, it actually manifests and it showcases the harmony, beauty, tranquility of this beautiful religion. Over 2 million people are gathering here with different ethnicities, different race, colors, wearing the same clothes, white garment, chanting the same slogans, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, having a very spiritual, highly spiritual time. To what extent do you think this could be reflected and showed to the world that this the true image of Islam?
You mentioned so many points. I want to try to pick on all of them. Firstly, you mentioned how some groups may hijack Islam. I have some contention with that. I don't think anybody can hijack Islam. This is the first point, that there are minority groups in all countries, in all societies, in
Indeed.
all groups, and they do things. And if we say they represent Islam, then, or they represent their respective communities, then this is unfair. So we can say there are some fringe movements amongst Muslims, we can accept that, but we can never ever hijack Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells in the Quran that He is the one who preserves and protects Islam. So no matter what we do, or no matter what some people may do in the name of Islam, it does not represent Islam. And even the wider community, they know that this is not Islam. Why? Because the majority, the vast majority of Muslims don't behave in this way. You know, when we look at the Muslims of the United States, I'm not from the States, but I had a discussion with some of my friends from the States. There is a hurricane that's taking place, and the hurricane has displaced so many people in the country.
In Texas.
In Texas, has displaced so many people. And the response they said to me was that the Muslims were the first people to come out and help all the people that were displaced, irrespective of their color or their religion. They opened up their masajid and they welcomed everybody. They gave them food, they gave them shelter, they gave them clothing. And this was really one of the most powerful ways of giving da'wah. Even in the UK, we find the Muslims coming out, engaging with the community, helping the community. So I believe that the non-Muslims all over the world know what is true Islam. And I believe that the number of Muslims are increasing. I believe that Islam is spreading at a faster rate than it has ever spread in its history. And inshallah ta'ala, we will see big changes in the next coming years.
Indeed, and not only that, we've heard that it was, I think, one of the biggest religious, non-Muslim religious places have closed during the hurricane and during the flood, where alhamdulillah some mosques have provided assistance. And it was reported, I think, by one of the reputable newspapers, which is the Independent, if I'm not mistaken. So that is actually, I mean, let me ask you this, Brother Junaid.
Sure.
Why media always try to be hard on Islam? When a Muslim commit a mistake, they have the tendency of throwing a blanket on every Muslim in the world. Where when any other, let's not name a religion, any other followers of a religion commits an act, it is a personal act. It has nothing to do with the rest.
Well, let me answer that very directly. The first, you are a man who works in media, and I also work in the media and various other media outlets. In order for them to survive, they need to have viewership, and they need to make money. If what they're doing in the media is they are not attracting viewers,
no news is good news, no news.
No, this is not for the media. For us, we need to have news.
Indeed.
But our parameters,
looking for excitement.
Yeah, sure. Our parameters as Muslims is that we have to convey the truth, because we are as Muslims are obliged to speak the truth in all affairs. But the other media, maybe not from Muslim origins, then they will say that which sells. So if a Muslim, let's say for example, a Muslim did something bad, he a'udhu billah, he raped somebody, they say in society something happened, they will not report this as a madman committed a violent act. They will report this as a Muslim man committed an act. They will attach his religion to the action. Whereas if somebody else does that action, they will not attribute his religion to that action. So,
but you know what's funny, Brother Junaid, when sorry to interrupt you, but when an incident happened, and it happened to be not Muslim, he said, well, it looks like that the incident has nothing to do with terrorism. So I think it's exclusive for Muslims only. When something happened, terrorism, it's only fits them and exclusive for them. This is the sad part.
It is, and this is why when we sit in front of the cameras, all of us presenters, speakers, all that, this is a big amana. Because if you repeat the same information many times, then the viewers will believe it. And if you are not God conscious and you do not fear Allah, then you can tell a lie. And if you repeat the lie over 100 times, the people will believe it. And that is unfortunately the state of the world today. You repeat lies. I'm not saying you, I'm saying the media.
Yes,
the media, they repeat lies and people believe this. And
lie until people believe you.
Exactly. And we see this not just in the Western world, but we also see this in many of the Eastern countries.
Indeed. Let me turn to Brother Muhammad.
Sure.
I mean, since you are working with foreign language channels that's working within the Arab world, tell us your point of view on our discussion.
Actually, this point of view is like one of the most misconceptions that being casted on Islam. So we face the Islamophobia all over the world. Every part of the world, especially the West, you go there, the Islamophobic issues, you find it there. You have to solve it. We have, as foreign Islamic preachers, or we can call it media Islamic media that promotes for Islamic. We can find a main rule, a general rule that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts in the Quran and made it clear, very clear to the whole mankind, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't prevent us to deal well with those who don't fight us, don't get us out of our lands, to be justice, to deal with them with good, with piety, with all means of goodness. This is the main rule.
Just like to draw attention of our viewers that behind you, mashallah,